Welcome into another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman, who had a good week last week here on the show. Had the two winners at Churchill, Heart to Heart and Sparkling Review, and also had the Exacta up in New York because you liked Big Blue Kitten, but you thought the value was Dynamic Sky, and it came Dynamic Sky on top. So nice Exacta. Job well done.
Well, you get lucky every once in a while. Maybe we'll do that again today.
I think I had one Exacta. At least it paid decent because I had the horse that finished. The horse I liked in the Heart to Heart race did finish second. So between the two of us, folks should have won a little money last week, hopefully, and we'll see if we can continue that with a. We'll start with Churchill this week. The 9th race is the Cardinal Handicap, and they've had issues with the frozen track, but they. As we're taping this, we're expecting to race on Friday and Saturday. This is the last turf stake in Kentucky for the year, and don't know what the turf course, what kind of condition it'll be in, but I would think it should be in pretty good shape. And full field going into Cardinal. Who do you like?
Nice race. I had a hard time separating a couple of horses, and I went inside outside. I'm Already Sexy is the one horse for Catalano. And they shipped her to Santa Anita, and Florence Giroux actually rode her the day after the Breeders' Cup. They really liked her chances out there, and she had a really rough trip, got disqualified and placed 5th. She ran 4th, but she had to lead the top of the stretch, and I think that sets her up pretty well for this one. So I'm going to take I'm Already Sexy on top. But the 14 horse on the outside for Brian Lynch, Royal Fury, intrigues me, coming out of the E.P. Taylor. At 1.25 miles, shortening up to 1.8 miles here at Churchill. The horse has already run at Churchill, run fairly decently last year, an $80,000 claiming, and it's gotten a lot better. They ran the Canadian and finished second to Deceptive Vision, came back and took a shot at the E.P. Taylor. Didn't run that great, got beat by 7 lengths, but this is a much easier place, and Brian Lynch is a nice trainer. He's 3 for 5 at Churchill. He puts him in the right place. So I think Royal Fury is my second choice here. The long shot I'm going to give a shot to is a horse that I picked the last time out at Kentucky Downs called Angie Green for Catalano. The horse came from dead last, I think, and got beat by a length and 3/4 to White Rose, who came back and won the Rudin Riddle Dowager at Keeneland. So I think that's a nice race that Angie Green came out of at Kentucky Downs. So that's my top 3 here. I'm Already Sexy, the one horse, over Royal Fury, the 14, and Angie Green, the 5.
I ended up going to the 2 for Charlie Lepresti Keening. This horse comes out of a race at Keeneland in which it was wide every step of the way. And prior to that, hit its career best number. And she's 4 years old. And late in the year, I kind of like to find those horses that are improving versus ones that have had a tough campaign. So I'm going to take a shot with Keening at 8-1 on the morning line and just kind of discard that last race on the soft turf at Keeneland. And if she runs back to the previous race, I think she's got a shot to get this. I'm Already Sexy. I would use Biddy Kitty, who beat Keening in the race last time with a better trip. Papa's Cat I'd throw in there for just a big price. Strike Charmer really likes the turf course. Royal Fury I liked, but I didn't like the post. But if you wanted to add one more, that would certainly be one to include. But I'm going to go with Keening and key her with the 1, 4, 6, and 12, and the win bet on the 2 Keening. Let's go to Del Mar. Their 8th race is the Grade 3 Red Carpet Handicap. And I'm going to take a horse coming out of a race at Keeneland, Appealing Cat for Graham Motion. 93 buyer last time, and now this is the 3rd start off the layoff, so she could improve just a little bit here. 1 3/8 on the turf for fillies and mares 3 and up. Motion very good in that category of races. Bejarano takes the mount, so that kind of sealed it for me on number 1, Appealing Cat. The 3, Hijra, I'm not sure how do you pronounce that. The 4 left a message just on back class, not in great form right now. And then the 8, 3 Hearts. But I like Appealing Cat a lot in here. How about you?
I'm right with you. I like Appealing Cat for the same reason that I liked Angie Green in the last race that we talked about. Coming out of the Dowager, only got beat by half a length to White Rose, who's a nice filly. So Graham Motion gets her ready. They ship her all the way across country to do a $100,000 stakes race, so I think they feel good about her chances. The other horses I like Hijra, H-I-J-R-A. There's not enough vowels in that word. H-I-J-R-A, yes. Whatever it is.
By a vowel.
Hijra. Yeah. Jerry Hollendorfer has this horse that started her career in France. She's had 3 races here in the United States, and this is the second off the layoff. So I like her shot. I like Winning Rhythm with Alice Solis taking over for Mike Smith, but on a 2-race win streak. And the other horse that I like a little bit from the outside was the 11, and that is Scooterbird for John Sadler. So I would take Peeling Cat on top of those three, 1 with 2, 3, 11.
Let's go to Delta Downs. It's their big day of the fall, and we're going to take a look at the 6th and 7th races. 6th is the Princess, where 2-year-old fillies going a mile, and then the Jackpot, 2-year-olds, the boys going a mile, and a 16th. The Princess first up. Who do you like there?
Well, I'll tell you who I don't like. There's no way in the world I'm going to take George Brandy at a 2-to-1 morning line after I didn't get her at 61-1 at the Breeders' Cup. So, Lucas runs her back in basically 3 weeks. He was quoted in the Racing Forum this week as saying, I'm going to run them while they're hot, and that's what he does. She got a perfect trip out there. It was a speed favoring track. Delta Downs is a speed favoring track, but it's only 6 furlongs, so they go around, it's a 2-turn race. I think Take Charge Brandy will be overbet off that race. She's so much better. When you go from a 58 and a 64 buyer to an 83, there is a chance for regression. So I'm going to take a stand against her. I'm going to take a horse that has won at Delta Downs called Vivian de Bling for Brett Calhoun. They're obviously focused on this race. She got a nice prep in the My Trusty Cat $100,000 stakes race. She won by 8, and it says never asked in the comments. And I think that Calhoun was thinking about this race all along, and the race over the track means a great deal at a track like Delta. So Vivian de Bling is my choice. Temperament Patty, the horse disappointed in the Belmont, made of the missed stakes last time out, but off that 13.5 length lead win in the previous stakes at Belmont, I'm going to think she's got a shot. And you got to Take Charge Brandy in the exotics. The other horse, I think Skipaloo has a shot. Eddie Canale has a knack for putting him in the right place, and this horse has run second the last couple of times, including in the Grade 2 Matron at Belmont. So I'm going to take Skipaloo below that, but Vivian de Bling is my choice at Delta Downs.
I decided to in this race, couldn't have a strong opinion on the win. What the strong opinion, I had 2 of them. I'm right with you on Take Charge Brandy. I think she's very vulnerable here. Speed bias track she caught last time, and she catches a field loaded with speed in here. So with that in mind, I'm looking for somebody that'll come off of it a little bit, and I like Temperament Patty, and I also like Danessa Deluxe down on the rail just a little bit. Both, I think one's 8-1, the other one's 12-1. Danessa Deluxe comes off what they call Gulfstream West now. It's the old Calder course, and horses out of Calder have run well at Delta Downs on this day before. So I'm going to try those 2. So it's going to be 3-1 in horizontal wagers, and then for this race, I'm going to do a part-wheel exacta, 3-1 over 3-1 and 6 Take Charge Brandy, 7 Vivian de Bling, and 4 Miss Mandate. So 3-1 over 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. 7th race is the Delta Jackpot, and I picked Prime Engine last week, and he didn't run, so I'm going to pick him again. I think it's interesting that Hollendorfer gets this horse into his barn. Horse is working great. And certainly the synthetic was a question mark, but he could have taken a shot there, right down the road at Del Mar. Instead, puts this horse on a plane, ships all the way to Louisiana for a big pot. Hollendorfer's dangerous when he ships, and this horse has got the rail on a track that really helps speed. So I'm going to go number 1 Prime Engine in here. I'm going to use him with the 4 Conquest Tsunami, the 6 Golden Actor, and the 3 Mr. Z, who I had made a note I wanted to watch next time out because I thought, it was a lightning quick pace in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and he stayed on better than about anybody else. But you're going to get a really low price in this spot, so I'm not going to take the short price on him. If he were somewhere else with a bigger price, I'd really be intrigued by Mr. Z, but I think he's probably the one to beat. Prime Engine's my pick. How about you?
Yeah, I think Mr. Z is a good under horse. The horses will run 3 times second and only 1 win in 6 races, even though he's running Grade 1s and he's been competitive in every race. I would take him underneath. I like Conquest Tsunami. I was between your horse, Prime Engine, and Conquest Tsunami, and the difference is the class they've been running against. And Conquest Tsunami ran in the Breeders' Futurity here at Keeneland, gave it up late to Carpe Diem, but was right on the lead as a half-mile pole. And then came back in the Street Sense at Churchill and ran wire to wire, and I think that sets him up very well for this race. And Mark Cassey has had a great year, and I think Conquest Tsunami is my choice. I would put him over Prime Engine, the 1, Mr. Z is the obvious choice, but the horse that I think has a shot at a little bit of a price is Ocho Ocho Ocho, the 10 horse on the outside. I think James Cassidy had a pleasant surprise when they took the juvenile turf sprint off the turf at Santa Anita on Breeders' Cup Friday, and this horse went wire to wire almost and won by 5 3/4, and you weren't sure that they try to get it on the turf, and he runs this big number on the dirt at Santa Anita. And so I think they took a shot here at that. Why not go for $1 million or a piece of it? So I think this horse has a shot. Shipping in from California, Mike Smith always rides big in big races. So that's my long shot. Conquest is my top choice.
Yeah, I think you make a great point on the outside horse and Smith, because Smith was scheduled to ride Prime Engine at the race at Del Mar last week. I just didn't like the post position on that one on this track, but yeah, he's definitely one, especially if the price because of that post floats up a little bit. I'd probably include him in there with Prime Engine in my ticket as well. So some interesting races to take a look at this weekend. Hope you have some good luck, and we'll be back to talk about the big holiday weekend, Thanksgiving weekend cards at Churchill in New York with a lot of great stakes races. We'll be back to talk about those on the next edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.